Tips to eliminate brain fog. Hello there, everyone. And welcome to this video on brain fog busting strategies. Most of us have experienced it, and although it is not a clinical word, it refers to a group of symptoms that include impaired cognition or difficulties thinking, inability to focus and multitask, and loss of short and or long-term memory. You know those days when you want to say something and it's there on the tip of your tongue, but you can't think of it, or you try to recall something and it just goes in one ear and out the other? As a result, our brain is very prone to fog. How to eliminate brain fog? Pay attention to your circadian cycles. First thing first for removing brain fog. Circadian rhythms are crucial for more than simply sleep. They govern the flow and quantities of hormones throughout our bodies. It controls almost every aspect of our bodies. Adena is one of the things that might happen when our circadian rhythms are out of sync. And adenine is similar to the junk that accumulates from the activities of the day. When we obtain proper deep sleep, that adenosine is flushed away. But if we don't, the adena merely accumulates. We know that some individuals, when they get up and feel a little foggy, will take coffee, which provides them energy and makes them feel a little better. That is correct. Caffeine has the ability to bind to certain of these adenine receptors. However, studies have consistently demonstrated that, although it makes us feel somewhat more energized, it has no effect. Caffeine has little effect on our cognitive functioning. Cortisol and neurotransmitter fluctuations from time shifts or being exposed to too much blue light, too late in the day, or a lack of sunlight may also lead to alterations in circadian rhythms. So, what exactly is the intervention? How do we deal with this? Have a routine, and do the same activities at around the same time every day. That doesn't mean you have to be inflexible. I realize that a lot of individuals are much more impulsive than I am. However, try to go to bed around the same time each night most of the time and wake up around the same time each day most of the time to establish a sleep habit. So you do the same 2 or 3 things every night before bed, which prompts your brain. It's past time to start winding down. Just like with children. When kids go home from school, they play, eat, wash, read a tale, and then go to bed. So when kids go home from school, their bodies start to absorb the signal from those social activities, not just the light level, not just the temperature level, but from those social activities saying, hey, we're winding down. Blue light filters may be really beneficial. Non-prescription clear glasses with blue light filters are available and may be beneficial. You may also acquire filters for your television, computer, and mobile devices that block blue light at certain times of day. In general, you should begin using it at least 2 hours before bed, as this may significantly assist to minimize disturbance of your circadian cycles. If you're experiencing a particularly dreary or foggy day, as we've had in Tennessee for the past 2 weeks, bright light treatment may be really beneficial. I don't believe we've seen the sun, and it's sort of dreary outside, and you, and I know a lot of other people, are feeling a little lethargic. Bright light treatment may be beneficial. It doesn't mean you have to have one of those light boxes, but it does imply that during the day, when it's meant to be daylight, you should be in an area with strong light and practice good sleep hygiene. Now, as I previously said, circadian rhythms are not only about sleep, they are also regulated by when you eat and when you perform particular activities, which is why regularity is so crucial. Tip number 2 is to drink. 1% dehydration may result in up to a 5% reduction in cognitive ability. Most people don't know they're dehydrated until they're at least 3% dehydrated. So, that's a considerable decline in cognitive functioning. If you're attempting to remove brain fog, you should keep hydrated. Children, the elderly, and persons taking certain drugs are more susceptible to dehydration. Children may want sugary beverages or get so engrossed in their games that they do not consider drinking. Senior folks, may not consider drinking a lot. However, they may be taking drugs that cause dehydration. We know that elderly individuals are more prone to dehydration, and some drugs include diuretics, which promote dehydration. There are other drugs that, make it more difficult for folks to control their body temperature. As a result, they may sweat more, perhaps leading to dehydration treatments. Always have a water bottle with you. That's a rather simple intervention. If you have it with you, you are more likely to drink from it on a regular basis. Reduce caffeine and alcohol, both of which are ticks, and caffeine may be found in coffee. Pre-workout pills included. It is present in chocolate. It may be found in a variety of places. It's critical to know when you're consuming caffeine or alcohol that you need to drink extra water and do what I term doubling up. Whenever I brew coffee, I also have a glass of cold water with me. So I drink a cup of water for every cup of coffee I consume, and that helps balance it out. Even if I'm drinking decaf, I still do this, mainly because it's nice to rinse the coffee off your teeth. However, doubling up might be beneficial if you like coffee but dislike water. Combining the two makes it less unpleasant. You may also taste your water and accomplish other things while being hydrated. That is the big message from tip 3, oxygenate. Who would have thought that breathing would help erase brain fog? They discovered that sitting on your buttocks all day was sedentary. Everyone is claiming that sitting is the new smoking. Sedentism lowers your heart rate, as well as your circulation and oxygenation. When your heart rate drops, the pace at which your blood flows through your system slows, as does the rate at which your blood takes up oxygen and transfers it about your body. All of this might lead to more discomfort because you get stiff and make cognitive mistakes. They discovered that sedentary persons who sit for lengthy amounts of time make more errors, interventions, and occasional breaks with activity. If you need a push notification on your smartphone. I know, yeah, my fitness watch used to prompt me to get up and walk about since I had been inactive for far too long. Whatever you need to do to remind yourself to move doesn't have to be jumping jacks. You may stretch, walk around the home or workplace, whatever it is, but get up and move for 30 seconds every minute. It does not have to be for an extended length of time. Exercises that are isotonic. These are workouts that cause limb length to alter. So you like bicep curls, squats, or cycling at your desk. A desk cycle is ideal for persons who have mobility issues. However, if I used to have one beneath my desk and you may use it while working on the computer and it doesn't function, you don't have to keep balanced. It's not like walking on a treadmill while attempting to work on the computer, where I'd trip and break my neck. However, a desk cycle might be beneficial. Desk cycles are also available to place on top of your desk. If you don't want to utilize your legs and arms, all you have to do is get that blood flowing, and each time you move a limb, you're moving blood. Deep breathing exercises also promote blood oxygenation. When you breathe deeply and slowly, your heart rate normally slows, but the amount of oxygen you take in and make accessible in the blood increases considerably. So it can work both ways. By sponsoring the channel, you can help us continue to make useful tools accessible to everyone. You may contribute any amount, and every amount helps, at DocSnipes.com/donate or using the DocSnipes Cash App. You may subscribe to Doc Snipes YouTube channel by going to DocSnipes.com/subscribe. A super may be purchased. Thank you for any films that are very useful, and if you need continuing education, you may find it at allsayus.com. So, returning to presenting tip number 4, stress reduction. Stress activates the HPA axis or the stress response system, which activates the fight or flight response. When you're in fight or flight, your higher order thinking is replaced by survival actions. So, if you are psychologically or physically worried, you will not think as clearly and will have greater brain fog. So and your tension may be beneficial. Long-term anxiety. If you are stressed over an extended length of time, your body will undergo changes. And you'll really notice an increase in systemic inflammation, which we know is connected with therapies for brain fog. Determine the origins of your physical and emotional stress. I'm not sure what you're dealing with initially, and then devise a strategy to begin removing or decreasing one at a time. You're not going to alter everything overnight. Instead, reduce or remove one item at a time. For example, if one of your causes of physical stress at work is a poor ergonomic setup. So you're uneasy a lot of the time. Okay. Let's find out how to deal with it, since being uncomfortable is frustrating. Frustration indicates that the HPA axis is active. Being mindful. This is related to prevention. Be mindful of your stress triggers. You've already recognized the most of them, so be attentive. So, if you know you're going to be in a difficult scenario, you may plan ahead of time how to manage it. That manner, as Linehan would say, you can retain your smart mind, minimize HPA access or stress activation, which may also assist keep inflammation down and your thinking higher. If you need to set aside stress out time, rather than fretting about everything all day, set aside an hour, 30 minutes a day as your stress out time. If you begin to think about anything upsetting, say something like, okay, this, I'll deal with it later, and you can deal with it during your stress out time. And a lot of individuals have had a lot of success with it. You're not suggesting I shouldn't worry about it. You're saying, okay, if I'm going to fret over it later, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm putting it off until the stressful meeting and then going over the recording with information in context. We may become worried up over things that, in the present context, aren't a huge concern. Perhaps 5 years ago, They were probably hell 5 minutes ago. They were, but right now they're not, so they're not paying attention to it and running the tape through if this occurs. If I do this and then this happens, would it have a terrible outcome? And tip 5, I've already spoken a lot about inflammation, but this is significant enough to have its own presentation. Brain fog has been linked to neuroinflammatory induced by sickness, medication, autoimmune, or mental problems. Anxiety, sadness, and although it is not strictly a mood illness, PTSD, persistent stress leads to systemic inflammation, which leads to brain fog treatments. Let's start by reducing the inflammation. How do you do it? Hydrate. Your body is around 80% water. When you're dehydrated, not only does your cognitive performance suffer, but your body's capacity to remove toxins and oxidative stress suffers as well. Hydrate to help keep inflammation under control. Consume a diet rich in antioxidants and omega-3 fatty acids. You can help your body work more effectively, clean out the garbage that causes inflammation, and manage your stress by eating a balanced diet. I know I've previously said it, so I won't go over it again, but chronic stress causes inflammation. Lower stress, reduce inflammation, and address food sensitivities and allergies. Gluten sensitivity does not affect everyone. But if you do, don't consume it, since allergies signify when we have an allergic reaction, we are experiencing some type of inflammatory response. Food sensitivities are often the result of an inflammatory reaction. So, whatever you do, pay attention to those things. If you consume anything that causes inflammation, it is probable that it will add to stress and may lead to brain fog. So, whether it's red dye number 5 or gluten or anything else, if you have a sensitivity, pay attention to it, treat it, and then eat for a healthy gut. What you consume is broken down by the microorganisms or workers in your gut and distributed to manufacture hormones, neurotransmitters, repair tissues, and whatever else is required. So, if those people aren't in good health, they won't be able to break down the meal. And you'll have greater difficulties functioning when your body has problems working, which activates the stress response. What's more, guess what? We're getting that inflammatory reaction and cognitive fog again. So a healthy gut really aids in the reduction of brain fog. It aids in the reduction of inflammation, and you don't have to go crazy about it, but you should be aware of what foods may be beneficial. What you should add in your diet is fermented foods, like cheeses and, if possible, yogurt. Now, I understand that not everyone is able or willing to consume dairy. That is understandable, but speaking with a nutritionist or your doctor about what you can do to maintain a healthy gut fiber is beneficial. That's another thing that most individuals can consume fiber. Finally, number 6, get a blood test. This is not something you can do immediately. You can't test your own blood, you know. When you go in for your yearly physical, have your doctor test your blood, because if your gonadal hormones, estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone, are out of balance, you'll get brain fog. When your thyroid is out of balance, whether it is too high or too low, you will have cognitive fog. When your vitamin D levels are low, you will experience inflammation and cognitive fog. As a result, it is critical. These are the kind of things that are routinely looked for in most decent yearly physical blood panels. And there's a reason for it. Imbalances in these 3 things are so widespread and related to so many different illnesses that we need to test and rule them out. These are simple issues to fix, but they must first be recognized as such. So, I know most of us despise it, but get that yearly physical, since most individuals will deal with brain fog at some time, and understanding what's causing your brain fog is essential. Is the first step. Is there anything you're taking? Is it due to a hormonal imbalance? Is it a sleep disturbance? Is it possible that you have sleep apnea, which is creating your brain fog? Prevention of brain fog may be addressed by health-related behaviors such as nutrition, eating a well-rounded diet with appropriate vitamins, antioxidants, omega-3s, and hydration, exercise, hormone monitoring, and stress and inflammation reduction. Caffeine may assist with certain symptoms of brain fog, such as exhaustion, in the short term, but it can be harmful in the long run and does not improve executive functions. I know I've mentioned caffeine at least 6 times. I'll repeat it one more time. Caffeine will not increase your cognitive performance on a greater level. As a result, caffeine cannot be used to replace sleep. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe this video.